Why aren't more companies adopting automation faster, sooner? Is it a will problem? Is it a people problem? Like, what is happening that is slowing this down? Because I feel like this is something every company should already be taking on. So, Joyce, we'll start with you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Shalini, and we'll bounce it to you next. But Joyce, kick us off. Why aren't more companies going into automation faster?
Yeah, absolutely. Automation has been around for decades. And I think it's important for us to understand the automation landscape of our customers. It's important for us to understand the micro and macro jobs they do, the user journeys across different jobs and technology touch points, and to do some deep thinking about the life cycles of the automation jobs and the fluid nature of each persona. So, for example, if I start off as an admin and I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about automation, but let me try doing this one thing in flow, right? I'm not an automation developer, but I start learning these things. And then slowly I grow. So my persona keeps changing. And I think companies are not delivering end to end solutions that cater to real time problems. And they're also not catering to how each persona changes during the life cycle of the project or during their own personal growth. And then there are issues of pricing. Does the solution match the work that I'm trying to do? Do I have to get third party applications because a company's solution is not complete based on their scenario? So there are lots of things that need to be put together to provide a solution that people are eager to buy. And then who are you aiming towards? Are you aiming towards the CIOs and the IT buyers, or are you aiming to catch the customer? So the customer is not the person, usually not the person who pays money for it. Somebody else is taking that decision somewhere up the ladder, and they have a different opinion on what automation can do for them and whether it's worth the money that they are spending. But then the people, end of line, people who are actually at the end of that process chart, who are doing the work, they may have different requirements. Proficiency and the efficiency of their processes might be really worth something. But then the person who's actually paying the dollars might think differently. So it's a combination of so many things: pricing, especially for automation, the number of flows you run, the number of integrations you do, what sources of data are you touching, how do you pull the data in to then create data transformations and create automations. So I think our thinking has to expand a little bit more and not just provide specific cool technology solutions. Hey, this is cool technology, so we're going to build it and we expect everybody to buy it. No, you have to look at jobs to be done. You have to look at the spectrum of personas that are doing the work and then figure out what are the underserved areas. Think of it as a theatrical production, if you will. I have to do something from act 1 all the way to act 3, beginning, ending, stage, lights, props, costume. Everything has to come together for the play to be successful. Same thing with automation. If I am doing automation for my company, everything has to come together before I can deploy it. And once I deploy it, it has to work really well. It's a one time show. You do it well, it's great, especially if I'm in finance or banking. One thing goes wrong. How does that work? So your show has to be perfect. And I think that's the reason adoption is not as great as it should be, because we're not looking at it in this concerted way. Like, I think that's where we need to start, perhaps.
Yeah, I totally get that. Shalini, for yourself, when you're working directly with the customers of Salesforce and other teams that the enterprise accounts, what are their reservations or holdups? Because this is one of those things where I think there's so many use cases that you have of success. So what makes someone say, "Oh, let me learn a little bit more"? What are they nervous about?
Based on what Joyce was saying, I just wanted to add, I mean, she is spot on because I see this day to day, right? I'm seeing this issue all the time because there's always this challenge between what we really want to do and then, where do we want to invest, right? There's that whole big thing going on there. But in addition, I think when we're thinking about challenges that our customers face, and for me, the customers are the enterprise, right? All of our enterprise business partners and the challenges that they're having day to day right now, it's not about automation. They all believe it, right? They all want more automation. But I think the problem is the ease of use of automation, right? I do robotic process automation. We, came in with the idea that, okay, this is going to be easy, right? We have a tool, we can come in, we can build bots. But then when you actually get in there, you realize the challenges that we have in doing it. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And that's one of the challenges I think that we've taken on this year. And we're really trying to make it easy for everybody to do automation and, in fact, build their own automation.
So let's stay with you for a second, Shalini. How do we make it easier? Because I know some people that are in robotic process automation, whether in the service sector or they're actually building the technology that supports it. They talk about how like it's a different mindset because you have to really be thoughtful and all the planning that goes into place so you understand the downstream, upstream impacts that an automation will have. And of course, the probably the number one fear people always have, or it seems to me, is like edge cases. They inevitably they'll get in the planning mode and someone will be like, but what if? And then that's like it holds everything up because they're trying to account for 100% of the possible outcomes rather than maybe 80% of the possible outcomes. In your opinion, what can be done to make the implementation better, faster, more efficient, or maybe it doesn't need to be faster, just needs to be better with more confidence? I'd love to hear your input. How do we create that better process?
Right. Great question. So, when I was brought into Salesforce, everybody was doing automations everywhere, and not having a holistic approach of how we plan to do automations is one of the biggest challenges we have, right? And when I came in, it was actually very interesting because I was brought in primarily for robotic process automation when we started out, because everybody was talking about it. And I'm talking 4 years ago. So you're talking about slowness, right? Talking 4 years ago almost, right? Where everybody's talking about it. And RPA has been around longer. The first thing that we did, and this is something I think I have to say, I mean, our leadership, saw this as the real issue, which is not having a plan. Which is why when I came in, the first thing I did was I built out a center of excellence, right? So the first thing, I didn't go out there and start saying, oh, where's our use cases, right? I started saying, okay, what's our governance going to be? How are we going to have intake? How will we decide? How will we prioritize things, right? How are we going to look at everything and do the assessment so that we are consistent in whether we're doing cost savings or we're doing, another business problem like compliance or risk, right? I think those things were key in just setting the program up and setting that foundational program up. Now that we have done that, what we are now looking at after that was, okay, what is the tool that we're going to use, right? What is the right tool for the things that we are looking at doing? That is where the focus then shifted. And the last thing then we started doing was, and as part of the COE, we also did take our business partners' input did count even then, but we opened our intake only after we had laid out the foundations and we had our governance in place and we knew how we wanted to proceed with this.
What you just said reminds us of this exercise we're currently doing at Mission, which is we're learning Jim Collins' Good to Great, and he talks about how technology is actually to the end of the decision tree. Like, you mentioned the people is actually first. Joyce, in your experience, when you do this research and you're studying how teams are building these teams of teams to be better at automation, what are you seeing in terms of the characteristics? Because that's, I think, an easy thing to say, but probably how do I get started, right? A center of excellence, Shalini. I agree. I need that. Okay, who's involved? How do I pick these people?
Right. And I wanted to add to what Shalini said, right? When I first came in, I came in from Microsoft, and Microsoft has an entire ecosystem, right? So if I'm doing automation within the sphere of automation, there are so many connected technologies and solutions that I can use because I'm in the ecosystem. For Salesforce, when I came in, I realized that our customers don't have that ecosystem. So, for example, if you're in Sales Cloud or Marketing Cloud, you have a different perspective of automation. If you're in platform, you have a different perspective of automation. And then we have so many acquisitions. MuleSoft is here, Omni Studio is here. How do these things fit in? So, one of the first things I did is created what I call, it's my personal pet project. I call it umbrella of automation. So if I were to open up an umbrella and write automation on it, what would it encompass inside Salesforce? And how are these things connected? That is the steel thread or the golden thread that I felt nobody was thinking about. Maybe they were thinking about it, but it was just not priority, right? So from a user research perspective, from a research and insights perspective, it was important for me to say, if I am a customer, and I don't care what customer I am, I could be an admin, I could be an automation developer, I could be a CIO, whoever I am. If I come into the world of Salesforce and I say, what are the automation solutions available for me? There is no single place where they can go to and say, I need to do A, B, and C. So I'll get a little bit of this, 2 licenses of this, and that, and that, and that, and that. How do I fill my plate? I'm at a buffet table. I have a plate that says I need automation. It's awesome. It'll save me time. It'll automate manual processes. I'm standing with this plate, eager to get automation. And I know Salesforce is a great company, so I want it, right? But I don't know. I'm looking at the buffet table and saying, should I take a salad? Does the dressing go on the salad or does it go on the bread? How many pieces of bread should I take? Should I take fish, entree, vegan? I have no idea. So I think for me, my primary goal is to bring that together as a seamless experience and give customers the ability to pick and choose with the right cost, the right licenses for the right personas. And I think that's what will enable people to adopt more, having the knowledge and the ability to take what's best for them at the best price and with the best solutions based on what their problem is. We have to solve the problem that the customers have. We, in addition to creating cool technology, which people may or may not use sometimes, we have to solve their problem. And that's when what Shalini is doing with Center of Excellence and what I'm doing with the ecosystem of automation will all come together and be this glorious thing that will change our lives, honestly.
IT Visionaries is powered by Salesforce Platform and Dreamforce. Did you know the very best Dreamforce sessions are available for free on salesforce.com/plus? We recommend watching the Platform and MuleSoft keynote to get the down low on doing more with less and increasing efficiency with automation.